You hear me? So the last time we talked about awakening and what it is and the importance or value of pursuing awakening. Awakening in a way divides the path in two, before awakening and after awakening. And it's a very distinct difference between before and after. That difference comes because awakening shows you that what you thought you were is not real. And what we think we are is actually pervading everything in our lives. Our relationship with others, our relationship with ourselves, and also the spiritual path. Because in the spiritual path, we are assuming that here is me looking for God. The problem is that when awakening happens, you realize that there is no me, that there is only God. There is not that little self that we thought was real. It's not real. It's just imagination. So it creates a very two distinct stages in the spiritual path. So it's extremely important to attain awakening, because once you cross that threshold, then you can, then there is a possibility to, first of all, to move forward in the spiritual path much faster, because the I, the me, is like pulling us down. The I thought, the me thought, the me here looking for God, the me here doing anything, the me here giving this talk, right? So all that is seen as an illusion, and then the process of purification of the mind and the body accelerates, and accelerates very significantly. It's like we realize that we have been carrying this tremendous weight, which is this me thought, this me idea, and then at least that weight after awakening is not completely gone, but it is decreased significantly. So the importance of looking for awakening cannot be understated, but I think it is a little stressed in the spiritual life, and it's worth considering, giving it a lot of attention, and I would say in Christian terms it would be devotion, meaning the desire, cultivating the desire for awakening, because without that desire, in fact, nothing can happen. There has to be that strong desire to wake up from the dream of me, the dream of I. So we have these two big stages, the first and before and after. But before awakening, we are focusing on purification, right? We want to purify. Anyway, before and after, we are consistently working on purifying ourselves, purifying the mind from all the debris of our traumas and negative thinking and distorted ideas and who knows what, right? So after awakening, that doesn't change, it continues. But what becomes obvious is that you're not doing the job. That the purification process has never been done by you, although the you that is an illusion has to cooperate, right? So the ego, so to speak, this illusory me, has to cooperate with this process of purification because it has to consent. But at the same time, because it's not a real being, it cannot do anything to purify itself. It cannot do anything to purify the mind or the body. So after awakening, you have to concede to the reality that the purification has always been done, and the progress, the spiritual progress, has been done by God itself, by consciousness or awareness. And then after awakening, you realize that, and then you say, okay, who is going to continue doing the job? There is no one here to fix anything, right? So, but awareness will continue doing the job, will continue purifying you. You are the mind-body organism, which is not you really. So how we can integrate that with the idea or the reality that the ego has to consent because there is free will in the dream of the divine? Well, there is a technique, and it's called the surrendering technique. And the surrendering technique works exactly with that assumption that what purifies your mind-body system, or you, so to speak, is consciousness, is God, is not me. So the surrendering technique assumes that, and the only thing that it also allows this ego self, this fictional self, to do its part of consenting. So the surrendering technique is very useful, especially after awakening, although it can be used before awakening. It's not a problem, you can use it anyway. And it will accelerate the process of purification. That process of purification also leads to awakening, in the sense that if the body has too many issues, the body-mind has too many issues coming from childhood and so on, then awakening may be delayed. And then after awakening, still there is a goal. It's not that there is no goal. Still there is a goal, but that goal is, we could call it merging or liberation, freedom, complete freedom. Awakening does not give you complete freedom. It gives you some freedom, but still there is things that need to be worked through. So in the second stage, you want to use the surrendering technique every time you have a negative emotion. That is the signal to use the surrendering technique. Negative emotion means that your mind-body system is interpreting a situation in the wrong way, not in the right way. It is likely also projecting. What means projecting is projecting the blame for your own negative emotion into something external, like a situation or a person, right? He did that to me, or she did that to me. That's projection. So that we don't take responsibility for our negative emotion. So projection is deadly in the spiritual life because it doesn't allow us to grow. It defends the ego. It's that you are siding with the ego. Every time you project, you are siding with your ego. You're saying, oh, I'm right, but he's wrong, or that is wrong, or the situation should be different. In that situation, we are definitely delaying our progress because we are not using the opportunity that we have in front of us. So what's that opportunity? Well, the opportunity is that the negative emotion is like a red light in the dashboard, and it's telling you there is something that you need to let go. That's what it's telling you, right? So you may not even know what is that you need to let go, because underneath in negative emotion, there is a lot of stuff. the negative emotion is like the tip of the iceberg, but underneath the negative emotion, there could be likes and dislikes. I like this, I like that. There could be distorted beliefs that are negative or limiting and so on. So these things that are underneath the emotion, sometimes you can, through introspection, by looking within, you can find them, but not every time. And in fact, it is challenging, right? If you go to therapy, many times it's because you want somebody to help you to introspect, to look within and to see what are your negative emotions about. And that may lead, in fact, to, okay, realizing, yes, this is what is underneath this emotion. But there is a shortcut. The surrendering technique is a shortcut in the sense that you grab the emotion, which is the tip of the iceberg, and you surrender it to God. You surrender it to the divine. And by doing that, you are triggering a metaphysical action that allows consciousness to intervene directly into your programs, into the mind-body organism, and correct the situation many times without knowing you how it's happening. It simply happens, and then sometime after you see, oh wow, that negative emotion has never come up again. That situation that was bothering me, it's not bothering me anymore. And you don't even understand how that happened. Well, it happened because when you surrendered that emotion, you gave permission to the divine to do its job, to heal the mind-body system. So the surrendering technique is a liberating technique. It liberates the mind-body system from the obstacles that lead to liberation. Make sense? So what is the purpose of this? Well, the purpose of this whole thing is that by cleaning and purifying the mind-body organism, there comes a time that you are in the presence 24/7. That you don't come back to this human experience of contradictory ideas and emotions and negative emotions. You are locked into the presence of the divine. You're locked into a peace or expanded awareness or resting as awareness, different ways to say the presence, right? So the surrendering technique then is a very simple set of words that I'm going to share with you right now, and I would suggest that you write them down because you will not remember the first time. But once you begin to practice it, gradually the words, you will memorize the words, and it will be easier and easier, so that every time you have a negative emotion, instead of saying, oh wow, I have this feeling again, you know, you say, wow, there is a great opportunity here. Let's surrender this thing, right? So let's say you're experiencing anger, right? Then say, okay, I'm frustrated, I'm angry. Great, this is the opportunity. And then you grab that idea, you grab that thought, anger, that word, and you insert it into the surrendering technique. What are the words? The words are, this emotion, this anger in this case, is surrendered now to the divine completely, completely, completely. That is the foundation of the surrendering technique. It's as simple as that. This guilt is surrendered now to the divine completely, completely, completely. This fear, this anxiety is surrendered now to the divine completely, completely, completely. Now there is a second sentence that helps and sometimes comes very handy or strengthens the technique, and is please take it away. Please take it away forever, forever, forever. Right? That strengthens your determination. That you're not siding with your ego. You're recognizing that this is something that needs to be gone, and ideally never come back. Right? That's why the wording forever, forever, forever. And then there is a third sentence that is helpful, and it's thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, because you want to have a humble attitude in this. Humble the ego, right? Which is not easy. So that is the technique. It's this emotion, you give it a name, surrender now to the divine completely, completely, completely. Please take it away forever, forever, forever. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's it. I highly recommend that you begin to practice this. It's so simple, right? You have a negative emotion. Instead of projecting and blaming something or a situation, you name the emotion clearly first. You say, okay, what is it that I'm feeling now? Is it guilt? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it pride? What is it, right? So you give it a clear name, and then you grab that name, you insert it into the surrendering technique, and you surrender it to God. I claim no merit on my own for the technique. I did not invent it. Yeah, it was given to me by a psychic, and that individual had a Kundalini awakening when I met him, and he was in a very high state. We had many conversations, and he shared this with me. I said, this is something really good. I'm going to try it. So I began to experiment with it, and I found that it was incredibly helpful. On top of it, because I had, at that time I was working with clients, I had clients that were experiencing their own issues. So I began to use it, guiding the person on the phone, because the last years or decades I have worked on the phone, and through the phone telling the person, okay, let's do the surrendering technique for this emotion. And then they were getting healed, and they healed sometimes instantaneously. So I realized how powerful this was and how easy, because you can, there are other ways to do this, there are other ways to purify the mind-body organism, but they are difficult, they are not that easy, right? We know that even if you have the best intention and goodwill to be a better person and to do not indulge in negative emotions, we realize very soon that it's not so easy. So this is an easy way. This is for the lazy person. And I guess I'm lazy. So this purification process is accelerates immensely through the surrendering technique, and you can use it even before awakening. Yeah. You can also use the word I if you want in the technique, but I would suggest that you remove it. How do you use the word I? You say, I surrender this anger or whatever to the divine now completely, 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 right? that would be an I statement. Why? The other possibility is superior. It calibrates higher also in the map of consciousness. This emotion is surrendered now to the divine, because it removes the word I. Because it removes this fantasy that we carry. This me, I here, which is a fantasy. Very stubborn fantasy. Removing it is not an easy task, because we have affirmed this I-ness hundreds of thousands of times through our lifetime, in our thinking, in our talking, even with spiritual ideas. We can have a spiritual conversation with someone and then make the math after the conversation, and you have pronounced the word I so many times and you don't realize, but that is pulling you down. It's a dense word. Unfortunately, in English, it's very stressed out, because it's very emphasized, because this country, America, is at the America is more advanced than other countries spiritually, and the process that goes to liberation has to go through the stage of healing this I, and part of the healing of this I, this fictional I, is to take responsibility. So the English language puts the I and the me and the pronouns at the center of our language. It's rare that we will use in English the passive voice. We use the active voice with I and me and you and he and she and us, right? The passive voice is devoid of subject. This emotion is surrendered now to the divine. It's a passive voice sentence. It does not contain the I thought. It doesn't contain any pronoun, right? This emotion is surrendered now to the divine, completely, completely, completely. What type of sentence is that? In grammar, it's called the passive voice, and it has no subject. You use the active voice, you say, I surrender this to the divine, completely, completely. But after awakening, and even before, I recommend, sorry saying I, recommending to do not use the I, yeah, because if we are affirming the same illusion, even when we are practicing the surrendering technique, we keep affirming the illusion of the me. And as you affirm the illusion of the me, you separate yourself from the whole. Because now there is a me, so the whole is there, out there, and me is here. And that's an illusion. There is only the whole. Okay. Questions?
No questions, but it certainly makes a lot of sense.
Makes sense?